Fala, meus amigos! Fala, minhas amigas! Sejam muito bem-vindos a mais uma entrevista do Ibagenscast em mais uma sexta-feira. Quem fala aqui é o Manu. Antes de eu introduzir o nosso convidado, peço para que você se inscreva no canal, ative as notificações, deixe o like, que é muito importante, nos siga nas redes sociais. Quem quiser e puder, contribua com o meu trabalho via PIX, que é muito importante. Nosso convidado é um dos maiores bateristas do mundo, tá vindo para a América do Sul, para o Brasil pela primeira vez com a sua banda, já tocou com vários artistas, em 2011 quase entrou para uma das maiores bandas de prog metal do planeta. Eu tô falando do batera da Darkane, Peter Wildoer. Peter, it's nice to have you here, man. Thanks for accepting my inviting.
Thanks for having me. Awesome. Thank you very much. Baterista. I heard that, so.
Oh, yeah. Oh, do you know it?
I got that, yeah.
Nice. So right now, are you in Sweden?
Yep, I'm in Sweden. Yeah, it's winter time, but it's no snow here. I live in the very south of Sweden, so actually, the last few years we rarely get snow anymore. Actually, so it's colder. It's around 0 degrees Celsius, but it's not that bad for being winter. Normally, it's colder. So
normally it's colder.
Yeah. Normally it's minus degrees under the freezing point normally. So a couple of degrees below 0 is normal. But it's been quite good this time actually.
Yeah, kind of different from Brazil's heat.
Yeah, I guess it is. Yeah, we don't know. No, we don't have that. During the summer it can be okay, but not like in Brazil. I don't think so.
Yeah, I got it. Well, let's talk about your band, Darkane. Darkane is coming to South America and Brazil for the first time.
For the first time, yeah.
How excited are you for these shows, and what can the fans expect?
We're super excited. I mean, we started Darkane 25 years ago today, or not today, but this year.
Yeah.
So we've been around for 25 years, and already when we started playing, I played with Arch Enemy on their second album, Stigmata, and I remember Mike Amat told me that when he was in South America with Carcass, I mean, he said it was already crazy back then. So since then, we've been waiting for, to be able to go to South America, and finally it happens. So we've been waiting for a long time. We are super excited.
So why did it took you so long to come to Brazil, man?
I mean, honestly, it's about finding the right booking agents and stuff like that. And if there is one mistake we did early on with Darkane, was that we didn't sign with a manager and a booking agent early on. So of course you need a booking agent, to book shows for you. So we wanted to do everything ourselves, and that's like the mistake we did, early on. But we just didn't have a booking agent. That's it.
Nice. So how exactly was Darkane started?
I mean, Christopher and I actually started playing together in 1989. So we've been playing together for 34 years, or almost no. So we started playing like hard rock, heavy metal music, like Iron Maiden, Halloween, and stuff like that. And since then, we've been playing together in the same band. I mean, it's evolved, so to speak. But and Jürgen, the bass player, started playing with us in 91. So he's like the younger guy in the band. So and then Klaus joined when we formed. We played together with a band called Demise, and later on it was called Aggritator. We played together for 7 years. Christopher, Jürgen, another guy called Pierre, and I, and then we formed Darkane in 98. Actually, December 97, but 98. Yeah, we started recording and working on songs in 98. So we've just been playing together for a long time. And Klaus joined the band also then in 98. So the four of us have been playing together in the band for 25 years, and we've known each other for more than 30 years. So we're just good. We're great friends. We still get along very well. We're like the best of friends. It's like a family. So, and then we had a few vocalists passing through the band, over the years. But and all those, we are also friends with all of them still. So yeah, it's a family.
Okay, so for the fans who doesn't know the band, how would you describe Darkane's music?
I would say it's melodic death metal, Swedish death metal, kind of Gothenburg style, but I think with a bit more thrashy touch to it. I would say like a mix of Swedish melodic death metal together with Bay Area thrash metal. That's where also the roots from us are, like, you know, like Testament and also Dark Angel and stuff like that. We kind of mix those things, I think. So yeah, it's melodic. We normally call it melodic thrash, but I guess it's a little bit of death metal in there too.
Yeah, to me, Darkane's music is very original because it really sounds to me like kind of a death metal, but with touches of progressive,
Yeah,
melodic heavy metal.
yeah,
Was this
yeah.
the band's original main idea when it started, or was it something that was built over time?
I think it's a little bit of both. When the band we played with before Darkane, Aggravator, that was like really influenced by Meshuggah and Cynic, and I mean this was a band formed 1990. We played until 97, so it's quite early on. And also, you know, the gent scene wasn't around yet, you know, and Meshuggah already started playing like Destroy and Race Improve, like that album influenced a lot. And also Cynic and early Human. I mean, the band Death, but their album Human influenced us a lot, you know. And all those bands have like a proggy part. So, but then in the end, we played so much. It was so weird music in Aggravator at the end. So and then we heard At the Gates, Slaughter of the Soul. We were like a few years after everybody else noticed that album, I guess. And we just heard it, and I played with Arch Enemy also in 97, 98. So we just wanted to do something a little bit more straightforward, but still with the progressive touches. So I think we started out actually off more progressive with the band before Darkane, but then we kind of decided to do it more straightforward thrash, Swedish death metal style, but still with the proggy parts. Yeah.
Yeah, and the band recently released an album called Inhuman Spirits. How was the process of creating it, and why did the band took so long to make a new record? It's the first band's record in almost 10 years, I think.
Yep. I was about to say we took a lot of time for that record. Now, but I mean, we all of us have families and stuff like that with normal daytime work and stuff, and I guess it was a little bit because of me. I was like not super sick. I was having doubts if I wanted to pursue playing metal drumming as much as I've done in the past. You know, I love jazz and fusion music too. So I was kind of, I just didn't know if I wanted to play that much metal anymore. But in the end, Christopher continued writing songs for the album, and some songs are actually 10 years old. So, and then over the years, he added a few more songs, but Christopher just, I would say it's him who carried the band over those years. He just, and I also studied a lot. I studied at the university, mathematics and stuff like that. So I, yeah, it was just a lot of different stuff, and some stuff happened with the families and stuff like that. So, but in the end, we just had a meeting like 2 years ago, and we said, so do we want to? I mean, we have this bunch of songs Christopher wrote. Do we want to record it? And we said, of course, it's too good. So the songs are too good not to be recorded. So we just, got our act together and just recorded it. So that was it. And Christopher already had the songs. So.
And also, Darkane is not a band that tours that much, right?
Nope.
Was that your guys' choice, or was there some factor that prevents the band from touring? Was the same reason, the family reasons, and your personal choices like studying, going to university, and?
I would say, that also goes back to where we didn't want to have like a manager and a booking agent. We didn't, we wanted to do everything ourselves. to keep, you know, the financials, the money, the little money that we got, you know, we wanted to keep it for ourselves. But that was like a wrong calculation. I mean, we are good at playing, or that's what we're doing at least. We're playing music, we're writing songs, and that's what we want to do and what we are good at. And we just should have, you know, went with a booking agent way earlier on. So that just happened, you know. We didn't start touring a lot, you know, and then it just kept like that and then in the end we had families, and now it's harder to tour when you have kids and stuff like that, families and work, of course. So it just kind of happened. But now we still want to tour, you know, and and we do every now and then, but not as much as other bands, of course. Yeah.
So, do you believe that Darkane will start becoming a more active band in terms of doing some touring?
Hopefully, yeah. I mean, we would love to tour, but at the moment, we've been looking a lot after touring for tours in Europe and United States and everything. But it's super hard at the moment now after the pandemic. So all bands want to tour at the moment. Every single band on the planet wants to tour. And I mean, actually here in Europe, at least, you know, shows are starting to getting canceled because there are so many bands on tour, you know, and you just don't sell any tickets to all the shows, you know, and ticket prices also gone up. You know, it's quite expensive to go to concerts, and the bigger bands, all those bigger bands are out now. So the smaller bands like Darkane, for example, have a really hard time, you know, to compete with those bigger bands, you know, and also with the festival situation, it's the same, you know, and sometimes, you know, when you have a festival, if you want to book like a big band, a bigger band, the booking agent, you know, tells you, well, if you want these 2 bands that we have, you also get these 10 other bands. so it's actually, we want to tour more, but it's really hard to get out there.
Okay. So I know that you just released a new album, but since it's your first album in over almost 10 years, do you intend to take that long to release a new record?
I surely don't hope so. I mean, Christopher is already working on new songs, and in the beginning, Christopher and I wrote all the material together. But then for the last 2 albums, I haven't been that much part of it. I've been part of a few songs on the new album and also on the previous album a bit more. But no, we said, you know, like, it's not going to take 9 or 10 years again. That's no. I mean, we want to make it earlier. And we actually we started, you know, working on new songs, but I can't promise anything. But it's always a long process to start to work with a new song.
Really nice to know. So, how did you start playing drums, and what were your biggest influences at the beginning?
I started playing drums actually because my grandmother, on my mother's side, she just bought me a drum kit when I was 5. So I didn't know if I was interested or anything, but I just, you know, it was like kind of a toy kit. So I kind of broke that kit quite fast, you know, just played it to pieces. And when I was 7, when I had my 7th birthday, I got like a real drum kit, like a beginner's kit, you know. And when I was 10, I started taking drum lessons at this municipal music school here in our town. So that's a really good system we have here in Sweden. We have municipal music schools. So It's super cheap to go there. So it's meant to be that everybody should be able to go there. It's not about the financial. So it's the municipal, it pays for a lot of the, you know, the teachers and stuff. And that system has been around forever in Sweden. So I started taking drum lessons when I was 10, and around that point, I heard Kiss for the first time, Creatures of the Night, and I was blown away. And since then, you know, it's only gotten harder and harder music. So I started with rock and hard rock, and then, like in the late 80s, I found out thrash and death metal and stuff like that. So and I just enjoyed it, you know. So, but it was kind of a coincidence that I started playing drums. I just got this drum kit, and I found like, well, this is kind of cool, isn't it? You know. So in the beginning, I was more into the idea of being a band member. I wanted to be Gene Simmons in Kiss, but he played bass. I didn't have a bass. So, so I wanted to be Gene Simmons. I imagined myself being Gene Simmons when I was playing drums.
Nice. You played with several bands such as Soilwork, Armageddon, Time Requiem, among others. How did you start getting involved in so many gigs?
I mean, in Sweden, Sweden is kind of a small country, and we live in a, you know, the town we live in is about 100,000 people. So, and that's like the 10th biggest city in Sweden, or 7th biggest in Sweden. So we don't have that, you know, it's only 10 million people in Sweden. So, and at that point, when I started playing, we were maybe 7 million. So, and it was small. So everybody kind of knew each other, and not that many people played metal drums in those days. So I guess, you know, it's everything is through context. You know, when you get one gig, and then another band wants a drummer, and they say, well, Peter is, you know, he's a metal drummer, and you know, he always shows up prepared, you know, and stuff like that, you know, and he will make a good gig out of it. So that was kind of through recommendations and everything. And then in the end, you know, I just ended up playing on a lot of albums, actually. I've been playing on, I don't know, 30 albums or something like that, maybe. So with a lot of different bands. So yeah, through, you know, and I always say, you know, it's just, you know, like it's very important to be easy to work with. And that's been my goal, you know. You know, look people in the eyes, you know, and say hello properly, you know, and be kind and show up in time, and also be prepared. And when you play gigs and stuff, so I get that also helps, you know, to get more gigs. You know, that's easy to work with, and you show up prepared, you know.
Nice. Well, you played with the Arch Enemy, and you recorded the 1998 Stigmata album. How was that experience?
That was the beginning for me to really enter the metal scene for real, so to speak. You know, before that, we only had made a few albums ourselves, self-financed and stuff like that. But when I got the offer, you know, I met Mike Amott, and that was also, again, the same thing. He heard about me in town. He was working in town at a store at that point. They were selling, like, you know, like metal merch and games and everything. It was like a really cool shop, actually. And Mike was working there, and he asked people, you know, do you know what, like, a drummer? I'm looking for a drummer, because at that point I was meant to play on the Armageddon album. So Mike wrote all the songs for the Armageddon album, but Chris Amott was playing the guitars in there on it. So, and they were looking for a drummer. And then Mike just, you know, some people say, you know, well, check with Peter. He's a good drummer, you know. And so I once just entered the store, and he said, well, are you Peter? Yeah, I'm like, yeah, I am. And he said, you know, like, yeah, do you want to play on my brother's album, Armageddon? You know, I'm writing songs. And I said, yeah, let's do it. And after that, I also, the same year, I also recorded with Arch Enemy, because Daniel Erlandsson, who's still the drummer in Arch Enemy, he didn't fit his schedule, you know, to play at that point. So I just recorded that album and did a few tours with them. Went to Japan for the first time in '97 also. So yeah, it's, again, through context, you know, mutual friends and stuff like that.
Nice. You also recorded two of James LaBrie's solo records, Static Impulse and Impermanent Resonance. I love those albums. How did you get those gigs?
The same thing again. Through friends, mutual friends, and Matt Guillory, who wrote the music for those albums. He wanted to record the Static Impulse album. He wanted to record that album in Sweden with a Swedish producer, and to have Jens Bogren to mix it. And Jens said, you know, we have this great studio in Sweden. And then Matt just figured that, well, maybe we should go with a drummer who lives in Sweden. That would be easier, you know, and cheaper with flights and stuff from the US. So he called a friend of his in Sweden, and that guy, also Teddy, he played drums in FQ FKU, Freddy Krueger Underwear, where Lawrence, the vocalist of Darkane, he's the vocalist in that band, and he played drums at that in that band, and I knew them. So Matt called Teddy, like, so do you know a drummer? And he said, well, he's a drummer by himself too, but he said, I don't know if that's really my cup of tea, but you should check with Peter, and I know him, so he just gave me Matt. He gave my number to Matt, and he called me, and I said, do you want to play drums on the new soul album of James Labrie? And I was like, yeah, I want to do that. So again, it's through contacts, that's what it is. It's all about that.
Nice. Okay, you are well known to the heavy metal audience because your audition at Dream Theater.
Yeah.
By the way, you did a great job, man. You were one of my favorite guys to take the test. So, how were you called to take this test, and how was the experience?
I mean, again, that was
James. This is your life.
This is my life, exactly. This is definitely my life. Yeah, I played on the album with James, and later on that year, in 2010, suddenly Portnoy chose, to quit Dream Theater, and since James, knew my drumming from his album earlier that year, I recorded it. So he said, like, I think we should, check with Peter too. I think he liked my drumming, and he played the album for the other guys in Dream Theater, and they said, "Wow, I like this guy too," So they it just ended up like James calling me, like, Portnoy is left the band, and would you be interested in doing an audition? I was like, yeah, of course, man. And to me, that was more like, I felt like if I get to go to New York to hang out for a week, and do the audition and just, have a jam session with Dream Theater, I mean, who wouldn't love to do that? So
it's already great.
It's already great. And to be honest, I thought, like, well, I saw the list with the other guys because they sent us an email, and all those other drummers also, I saw their emails because, and I was like, okay, Fergie Donati, Mike Mangini, all these.
Thomas Lang.
Thomas Lang. I mean, those are like the creme de la creme. Those are the top drummers in the world. I mean, really, really. So I felt at that point, I felt like I'm the underdog. Not that many people know about me anyway. So, I mean, I have nothing to lose on doing this, So for me, that was already a win. I mean, I just wanted to go there. And in the end, I did. I was the only one working full time. I worked full time as a teacher, mathematics and drums. So I had to work all day and then go to the rehearsal space, and learn the songs, And I think we had like 3.5 weeks or something, 4 weeks to learn it. So it was a demanding task, but I mean, it was just great to me. It was just great. I loved it. The guys in Dream Theater are super cool, and we had a super cool time, and it's just an experience for life. I loved it.
Oh yes, it is. Well, and do you believe that after that audition, your name became better known? And how was the feedback from the public to your participation?
Yeah, I mean, the feedback was great. A lot of people, I mean, all those drummers are phenomenal drummers. So it was more about, who would fit the band and, what the band liked. All those drummers are phenomenal. So it's not about that they don't know how to play drums. It's not about that. But to me, I got like super great, response, and I got a few offers actually also from some other bands, like if I wanted, like not like the super big ones, but bands that actually do quite well and stuff like that. But in the end, I've always wanted to play music that I love. That's my main thing, So, and I thought like, well, would be cool, maybe to, make a living out of playing music. But if I'm doing that and being away from my family and my, my son and my wife. So I said, if I want to do that, it really has to be something that I really love playing 100%. And that was Darkane. So yeah, so but I've had a ton of things coming out of this, and clinics. I've been doing clinics and stuff like that. So yeah, it's just a great experience.
Nice. And still about the audition, that audition was divided in three parts, right? A
Yep.
free jam,
Yeah.
3 songs, and a
Yep.
session in which the band played riffs and musical parts, and you had
Yep.
to fit on them.
Yeah.
Was any of them more challenging or more difficult to you?
I mean, the last part, we started playing the songs, and then we did like the jam, and the songs I knew them by heart, so that wasn't that weird. It was just like you're super nervous, of course. And there were like 15 or 20 people in the room, so I mean, they had like, of course, the band members, and then there were the manager and all the tour crew was there, guitar techs, drum techs. Keyboard techs, bass tech, everybody was there. And also some people from like Music Man was there. I mean, the endorsers were there. And there was just a bunch of people in there. I thought it was only us in the band. It was a huge room at Studio Instrument Rentals in New York. Like this SIR is a huge place where bands do production rehearsals, stuff like that. So no, but it was just a weird feeling. And then after playing the songs, we did like a jam, and that was cool. Nothing weird. But then they said, well, we're going. So Jordan came up to me and said, I'm going to play you a part on the keyboard, and you just figure something out to go along with that on drums. I mean, I was like instantly, super nervous. When you get this feeling like you're getting all warm in your head, but cold inside your body, like you're super nervous. That feeling, and it felt like I had like a glass bulb, around my head. I couldn't really hear anything anymore. It was just, and he played some weird ass shit, like Dream Theater is, like. And he said, and I'm like, so what meter is that actually? Yeah, it's 9/8, and then it's like 7/8, and I'm like, wow, 5/4, but he is, and I was so impressed because he was playing the stuff with his right hand at the same time he was conducting with his left hand in odd meters. So that guy he's brutal. I could tell, and I was so impressed also. But I was just looking at it like, shit, the guy is like conducting in weird meters and playing at the same time and talking to me. So I was like, I didn't really hear what he was playing because I was so amazed by his performance, But it ended up quite well, and I just thought, like, keep it basic. Like, if some stuff, where that's a drummer, the 7/8, like and Dream Theater is very often pattern based like that. So I just heard, like he said, like 5, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I kind of figured that out and just jammed to it, and they were like, well, that was great, you nailed it, man. So I didn't want to make it too complicated. I just kept with the basic feel I got. But that I have to say, that was a horrible. That part wasn't that fun. I think so.
And when you left the test, were you with that feeling that, man, I nailed it? I think I have a chance.
No, I mean, to be honest, I still had the same feeling afterwards. I mean, I just thought, I'm like super underdog here, and my drum heroes, I mean, Verdi Donati and Thomas Lang and all these guys. I mean, those are my drumming heroes that I look up to, and so I and Mangini, I just felt, like I've been watching these guys like on DVDs and stuff, like early on, bought some instructional DVDs and stuff. So those are my heroes, and I just thought, so, I mean, if I was in the band, I would pick some of those guys who are like super, super, super great. I mean, I know how to play drums, I know, but those guys are just on another level. So, but I guess in the end, they were happy with my drumming. I think that was actually because I guess, you know, I've been playing a lot in bands. So I kind of, you know, I'm a band drummer. I'm not like a solo artist or stuff. Some of those guys are more, or not more, they play with bands, but they are like on a very different level. So I guess, you know, they like the vibe. I think I'm probably a little bit closer to actually Portnoy, his kind of drumming, coming from like a band drumming situation more than like a fusion, you know, drummer that knows everything. So I guess that's what they enjoyed in the end, you know, like just being like a band drummer, I guess.
And in the end, were you surprised that you got like third place when they called you? Were you surprised?
I was super surprised. I mean, I already told myself, as I said, you know, like if I go to New York and do the audition, I'm already a winner. That's it. For me, I was already super happy with that. So I didn't, you know, expect anything more than that. So when they called me, you know, and said like, we really loved it, you know, and James also told me like afterwards, you know, like, you were on the top 3. And I was like, man, that's, I mean, that's like weird. But I put a lot of time and effort into the audition and learning the songs, you know, I mean, I grew up with listening to Dream Theater. I mean, Images and Words. I saw them for the first time on Images and Words tour already. But yeah, I was a bit surprised, I have to say.
One of the drummers who participated in the audition was Brazilian drummer Achilles Priester. Did you get to meet him? Did you knew him?
Yeah, I met him, and instantly, you know, my wife was also there in New York. We went there together, you know, because I think, you know, when I'm going to New York to audition, we might as well, you know, go there together and have a week off, you know. And not go there for like 2 days and then go back home. So
yeah, sure.
And we actually met. We met Achilles because all the drummers stayed at the same hotel. So Achilles was there, and I met him there. I met Virgil there also, and hang out with those guys. But my wife, she was like blown away by Achilles. She was like, "Oh, he's super cute, such a nice guy," you know. And I was like, "Yeah, watch out, man." No, but honestly, he's a super, super, super nice guy. He's super friendly, and I was on his podcast like half a year ago or something, and talked to him again, and he really did. He did very wise decision out of this audition. He was already well known, I guess, in Brazil, but he kind of found a way like this. He made something out of it. He said, you know, this is my opportunity to go out in the world, you know, and you know, to the US, move to the US, you know, and meet people there and start with another scene, you know, and if I understand right, he's doing like very, very well. He's doing clinics, and he's doing what do you call it? Like, yeah, he's talking in, you know, becoming your own entrepreneur stuff and stuff like that. So he's super skilled, you know, and he made a very good decision about, you know, making the most out of it, you know. And he is a badass drummer. I love it. Shit, I remember seeing when he played. I think he played like a cover from Death. I think he played Symbolic.
Yes.
Yeah, and I saw that video. I was like, because Achilles was the only one I didn't know that well from the audition. Mm-hmm. So I knew the other guys quite well. But when I remember seeing that video, and I was like, come on. The feet he's got, playing with that speed, but also that loud. He's playing super loud, and super precise. His timing is impeccable. So no, I really, he's an awesome drummer, an awesome person. He's such a sweetheart. He's a super cool guy. I love him.
Nice. And would the 2023 Peter Wildoer have any tip for the drummer, for the Peter who auditioned, that could make him perform better and get a better chance?
I mean, for drummers who want to audition, as I said, I mean, you want me to give some tips for younger drummers? Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I already said that part. I mean, to me, that at least what I have experienced from my part is like to be kind, show up in time, and learn what you're about to play. If you have those three things, then you actually you are prepared, and because there are drummers who are super great, super nice guys, but they don't play drums that well. And there are drummers who play really well drums, but they're not easy to work with. so if you have all those things, show up in time, be kind, and be easy to work with, not that everybody should like step on you, or it's not about that. It's about being a team player. That's what it's about. And of course, practice, be good at your instrument. And today, I mean, I just had a discussion with a few of my drum students today, and we were discussing like old school, older drummers, like, so, and I mean, we were talking about, I actually mentioned Pete Sandoval from Morbid Angel, because when I heard Morbid Angel the first time, that was the fastest shit around. And then when I heard Sean Reynolds playing drums on Human album with Death, if you play that good, people want to play with you. But today there are so many great musicians out there. Just have a check on YouTube. There is always this girl or guy that are 5 years old and they play Darkane songs twice the tempo that I can play, and so it's very much more about, there are so many, you have to be good at your instrument. Of course, you have to be good at your instrument. But then in the end, it also, the other things also, be a cool guy to work with or cool girl to work with, and show up in time.
This is really nice to hear, because I really agree with you. There are some great musicians that think that just because they're great is all they need.
Yeah.
They don't need to be nice. They don't need to get on the rehearsal on the right time.
No,
They feel
exactly.
they feel they kind of are replaceable, but nobody's replaceable. There are a lot of great musicians out there.
There are too many musicians that are super skilled. So you have to have all those parts actually. So no, but I think that's really important, and the music scene looks different today than it did. I mean, I'm older, so, but the music scene looks different from when I started playing. I mean, imagine when I started playing drums, I hadn't seen like video of any of my favorite drummers. You couldn't get that. Maybe you got some VHS copy of some gig somewhere, but that was like the seventh generation of video cassette. You couldn't hardly see anything. So, and today it's easy to get what you are supposed to do, what you need to learn. So the what you have to learn and what you want to play, that's easy to find out on internet, on YouTube. But then you have to make the hours of work to put into it. So I mean, you get just by watching YouTube videos of good drummers, you won't be a good drummer. You have to play drums or guitar or bass or whatever, clarinet or trumpet or whatever you want to play. So I mean, you have to put in the hours, of course. And but if you do that and you stay, a cool person to work with, then you're all set.
That's it. Well, Peter, to finish, I want to ask you, what can the fans expect from Peter Wildoer and from Darkane in the future?
I mean, in the future, man.
Yeah.
I think you can expect. I think for Darkane, at least, the last two albums have been more in the same style. I think all Darkane albums are very different in a way, at least to me. Both production-wise, but also the songwriting and the instruments and how we play. But I would say we kind of found our style. So I think you can expect something like Inhuman Spirits or The Stingers of Supremacy, those two albums. And I think maybe a little bit more, we always, get inspired ourselves by Rusted Angel, our first album. that album, we wrote that, Christopher and I wrote that together, all the songs and all the lyrics in 5 months. We just wrote it because we were so inspired by finding this Gothenburg style, like, you know, at the gates and stuff like that. So, but I would say Darkane is kind of, you know, we found our style. But hopefully, you know, my drumming will improve. I still practice every now and then, not as much as I did, but I still practice, you know, and I also work on some different stuff, you know, some different projects and stuff like that. But and that always inspired me to pick that up in Darkane. You know, some people say like you know, you can hear it's me playing the drums, you know, because its influences are not only metal influences. There are some other influences in there too. So I just hope to be getting better and better all the time anyway, even though I'm getting older, you know. It's harder to play fast. I can say that. Getting older and to play fast, you know, and it takes more time to get into shape, so to speak.
Oh, but you get wiser and your groove gets better, doesn't it?
Definitely. And for me, I started more working on technique and technical stuff. And my challenge has always been to get, you know, better groove. That's been my, you know, kind of, because I have some students of mine, young drummers that are 16, 17 years old when they start playing at our school where I work. And some of them, you know, grew up with Toto and, you know, that kind of groovier kind of things, you know. So, and if you listen a lot to Jeff Porcaro, the drummer who played in Toto, you know, and if you try to play as he did on those albums, you will get a good groove. But I just, you know, I just wanted to play technical stuff. So I kind of missed that point that the drummer is supposed to have a good groove. So that's what I've been working on later on, and still do, of course.
Okay. Well, Peter, I think this is it. I really appreciate you for your time. Thanks a lot. Well, the time is yours to give the message you want to give to our Brazilian audience that can't wait to see you here in Brazil kicking some asses with Darkane.
I have to say, guys, now we've been waiting 25 years to go to South America. And now it finally happens. Don't miss out on this opportunity to see us live. Hopefully we will be back, hopefully, but you never know. So make sure to be there to the Darkane shows. And I promise you, you will not be disappointed. I can tell you that. We will do our very, very best, you know, performance. So hope to see you there.
This is it. I'm gonna finish in Portuguese, ok?
Yep, cool.
Pessoal, espero que vocês tenham curtido. Essa foi a nossa entrevista com o Peter Wildoer, da Darkane. Se vocês gostaram, deixem o like, é muito importante. Não se esqueçam de se inscrever no canal, ativar as notificações. Nos sigam nas redes sociais. Quem quiser e puder, contribua com o nosso trabalho via Pix. E aguardem as próximas entrevistas, que vem muita coisa boa por aí. Beleza?